Hey everybody, welcome to show number 2 of Educators Unscripted. My name is Andy Layton, along with
Cody Greathouse.
It is a wonderful night of the week. It's Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah. I always lose track now.
Yeah, I really have to think about it because I don't know what day it is most of the time. So
yeah,
wonderful Wednesday night here, trying to get this episode in so we can get it edited and all that stuff and ready for people tomorrow. Maybe late tonight, we'll see. So, episode 1, got it out, or we're going to call it, we could have called it episode 0, I guess, but we're going to call it, I was afraid to put that in the description because I didn't want the streaming or the podcast service to kick it because it said episode 0, so
yeah,
I just went with 1, so we'll call this episode 2. Looks like we stayed true to a once a week. I mean, did we record on Wednesday last week, or was it Tuesday? I don't remember.
I can't remember if it was Tuesday or Wednesday.
Hey, regardless, it's not 5 years.
It's true. It's not 5 years.
So that's all that matters. So, overall, I know we've got to get kind of back in the social media game with everything. We have a decent follow. We talked about this last week. We have a decent following online and all that stuff. So, going to start posting more and trying to see what all we're going to do on there and try to get interaction and all that good stuff. Once I think people, I would say to a degree, Facebook algorithms, once you're dormant for that long, even though people may like your page, if you haven't posted anything for that long, it's going to be hard to get back on the page.
Yeah.
Or back on people's feeds. So, yeah. Hopefully, I see some people liking things, and hopefully that keeps generating no more. We'll see how it goes. So, I never did even look at the number that we had for the first week. So, hopefully going good, and it'll get better. We did pretty well last time. Once we got rolling and we're consistent, all those good things. We had a pretty good following, pretty good set of downloads every week, and we were happy, and then we fell off.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So, like I said, hopefully more Facebook. We're going to see. I don't know if we'll open up the old Twitter or start a new one. I do believe I still have the old one, so I'll probably just change the name on it like I did with Facebook and go from that. And, another thing on Facebook, I think I try to, say this, who we are every time, because I think some people have probably seen that page pop up, and they're like, who are these people?
I know.
Because, I just kind of changed the name, out of nowhere.
Surprise.
I changed the page. I changed, the @ sign. I changed everything on there, and I'm sure there's had to have been some people that were probably legitimately who?
Yeah.
I didn't like this page.
like educators.
Yeah. So I would say that's probably part of it too. Is some people have probably, and they may have unliked it after that. Who knows?
I guarantee they did.
So this is not retro games. So I thought about that. It was like the second day I posted. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, people are going. I said we're back. I was like, people don't know who we are.
Yeah.
And I was like, it had some that liked it since then, probably don't, but also. I changed the name of the page so they don't know who we are. So, so we're good there. First, I guess that's it for just kind of the intro here. First kind of thing here, and we're trying to mostly go with the flow here. Try to keep it as the word in our name says is unscripted. Trying to keep it that way as much as possible to a degree. Maybe lay out, what we're going to talk about, but in terms of what each of us is going to say, just try to keep it, with the flow as possible. So this first one, I just thought, and a lot of these things, I don't know if we're going to do them every week. Don't know if we'll do them once a month. That's all going to go as we plan this out and all that good stuff. But for now, I got 2 things up for tonight just to kind of get us going on this first episode, get some conversation going. This first one is a little news segment, and we'll throw out some some kind of, and Cody has no clue about any of this stuff too. So that's what's legitimately great about this too, is he literally has zero clue what I've got on this list. So a little news slash, what's going on? What's happened in the last week? Quarantine life. What's going on in with these, just some important things. I thought in the last week we could touch on some funny, some not. So I guess, well, not really a lot of humor on there, but I'm sure we'll make it funny. So the first one is actually something when we were getting ready to go on here, Cody mentioned, and I was like, oh man, he hit it right on there. I was like, is the announcement the other day of the remastered release this fall of Tony Hawk 1 and 2 being remastered and released.
I cannot explain or express how excited I am for this remake. Like, it will take me back to... I had it for Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
That was the only game I had. Or that was the first game I had for Nintendo 64. It came in a blue cartridge.
Yep. And
I played that until, my thumbs grew blisters. The soundtrack to that, that's what I hope the soundtrack is taken over with it. Because I think Sublime was on Tony Hawk 1. I think.
Yeah.
No. Maybe they weren't. I'm thinking of Matt Hoffman's BMX, I think.
Yeah, it all blended together. I can't remember.
But Tony Hawk had a great soundtrack, I remember.
So, that was kind of the biggest, in terms of gaming, that was kind of the, bigger news, especially for those of us around that age that I saw. I think we retweeted, it was like me and the boys on release date, and it was like, the rubbing the hands together,
Oh, yeah.
like here we go.
Yeah.
Like you may not see us for
Weaver and I actually sat down and did a playthrough of Tony Hawk on the N64 a couple years back. And I never knew it, but at the end of the game, you unlock a new area. It's like Area 51. Isn't that like the alien thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you unlock Area 51. And the challenges on there are difficult.
Yeah. I was never the best at it, admittedly, but I'm still excited about it. It was a pretty big game at that time, at that time, and had a lot of different releases. I mean, my gosh, I don't know how many there were. How many have there been?
Yeah, like I fell off of the Tony Hawk series after Bam Margera was introduced to it.
Yeah. So,
which I'm not hating on Bam. I love Bam to death, but
say,
him and I are great friends. But
say, don't diss Bam.
Yeah, I can never diss Bam.
So that was a kind of the bigger gaming news of the week. Was the remastered release of it. It was either September 4th or October 4th. I can't remember. I thought it was a 4 in there somewhere. The other one we kind of touched on right before we were talking was West Virginia. Of course, closed schools the rest of the year. Doing the distance learning and all that stuff online, but it's kind of the end of the year in terms of the building, and I know Cody had to go to work today, and I kind of touched on it with him at the beginning, and I just wanted to see, he described it. How did you describe it before we, I won't ruin it.
It was weird.
Yeah. Had to get your temperature taken,
yeah.
All that stuff, and just kind of in an empty building, that's...
Yeah.
I've been in there once or twice, and it's just it's very eerie, especially the hallways. So the lockers are like open. Like some of them are open and stuff like that.
Everything is taken out and in trash bags with the locker number on it.
Oh, did they take it all out already?
Which you and I have been in the school throughout our career. When everybody's gone, and it's weird, kinda, I guess, but when it's still the school year and you should be at school, everybody, like you said, everybody's lockers open and everything's out in the hallway, and it is weird. Everybody's wearing a mask that you see, which, for our listeners, we had to fill out a spreadsheet, and only an X amount of teachers are allowed in the building, so it's not like the whole school, all the personnel came back at once, but it was weird.
Yeah, and the thing I think about is like you said, yeah, I mean, empty school building all the time, but empty school building for 5 months. When you get
Yeah,
like the summertime, like I
yeah,
mean, never, I mean, never ever in the
yeah,
history of that school, any school, is there just gonna be nothing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like to a degree, nothing.
yeah.
No classes will happen for 5 months. And
Almost a
I
half
just
a year. Isn't that crazy?
yeah, I know, and that's what's just kind of like weird slash creepy to me is
Well, the custodians just came back too, I think.
yeah. Yeah, I talked to one of them yesterday, and they had just come back and been cleaning rooms and doing all that stuff. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just weird. If it's the summertime, I guess you just think it was any other day.
yeah,
But knowing these other 3 months have been tacked onto it, or 2.5 months, or
yeah.
whatever it is. And hey, we only got 3 months left of this.
Mm,
So we go back August
yeah.
17th. So yeah, gonna be a long time. The other, I guess this isn't really news, but I want to get an update. I want to update the good people that did not follow you on your Twitch stream
Hmm.
with Father Figure Gaming and everything that you're doing right now. So I wanted to let's get an iRacing update. How weekend Cody Greathouse's racing career.
Hey, talking to Dale Jr. and guys like that. My free time, I'm trying to get some tips and tricks for the tracks that we have. Those of you that aren't familiar with iRacing, it's a simulator. It's a racing simulator that you get behind the wheel and you're in a race car and you're going against 20 to 24 other people in the series that I'm in. But a week in the life of professional NASCAR driver Cody Greathouse. I wake up, fix a cup of coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah,
Figured you drink
yeah,
Mountain Dew.
what?
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, Mountain Dew. That's what I meant.
Or chase the
Well,
chase the coffee with Mountain Dew.
I mix Mountain Dew with my coffee. And then my daughter, she's asleep. I leave her in the crib and I sneak down the steps, and I got to get some practice laps and got to get some hot laps. No, I'm kidding. I do get some practice throughout the week in the evenings where my wife and my daughter go to sleep at night. I'll come down and get a couple practice laps in.
Did you get in the one
but
night? What'd you have? Was it 3 races?
yeah, I got 3
yeah, it was
races in the
3.
other night. Got wrecked at the very beginning in two of the in
No,
the first one.
the first one was when you call it. Yeah, tell them about your theory about qualifying.
Okay,
you
so
decided first you were.
Numerous times I've qualified, and where I do practice throughout the week, I find a decent line throughout the course of the race. Like I feel like I know how to race the track that I come up on that weekend. So I qualify, and I qualify extremely high. Top 10, like 5th, 6th. I've qualified first and second a couple times. Like, I know the track. But then you have these other guys that once you get into their actual race, like they'll just spin you out in this class, which is a rookie class, and they just don't care. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, dude, come on, like I'm trying to make my living here. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting paid, millions of dollars to do this.
My kids got to eat.
Yeah, I got to feed the dog. You know what I mean? And they spin me out, and I don't know how to handle it. So so my theory was to not qualify, and I was like, you know what, bump it. Like I won't qualify. I'll start at the back, and that way I won't get wrecked as easily. I'll avoid some of the big pileups in the beginning. So we tried that theory, and it failed miserably. Made a few passes on the last place cars. Started working through the pack a little bit. Still got spun out into the wall. At that point, I just threw my hands up. I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm just going to qualify from here on out, and so be it.
Race 2, you tried to qualify, and you got a black flag.
I got a black flag, yeah. So I was down. So I came into the pits a little hot. You know what I mean? You gotta. These are rules. I wasn't huge. I wasn't like a big, massive NASCAR fan. Growing up, don't get me wrong. Like I watched it some when it was, because it was big growing up. But I don't know the rules. So my spotter, who was my best friend Gabe, is always sitting here like, giving me the ins and outs of what needs to happen, and he's sitting here in my ear like, dude, team up with that guy and draft and get through the pack. And I'm like, yeah, explain that to me.
I know some of those terms, so I was saying them sometimes too. So
yeah.
A lot of NASCAR '98,
I know, and like I don't have paintballs on this one,
You can't just sit at the bottom of the wall and shoot everybody with paintballs when you're.
I can't.
That's what me and my brother used to do, playing against each other on there. Like,
oh, dude,
yeah.
it's like I wish one race I could jump in and drive backwards and just smash someone head on.
We're really gonna have to fire up NASCAR '98 now. I've got it.
We're gonna have to.
I've got it out there on PS1.
Yeah.
And then your race 3, you qualified first.
I did pole position.
Yep. And then got picked off.
I did.
A little bit by
I
little
got sniped.
bit. Yeah. A little bit by little bit. It was clean. Everything was clean. There was no wrecks.
It was.
There was just they sniped you one by one.
Yeah.
And
it just took me down a peg each lap, and I was like, oh man.
Did you end up like 10th? I think?
Yeah.
It was actually
finished top 10.
Yeah. It was your worst finish other than the first one, so it was the middle one. So there's no right or wrong to this. Is what we're saying.
There's no scheme. It's just you jump in and race.
You tried to not qualify, and you had a wreck, and you did horrible. And then you did qualify. You got the black flag.
Yeah.
And then you work your way up to like 6th in that one.
Yeah.
So you did okay.
Yeah.
And then the next one you qualified first.
Yep.
And you were like pretty good times above everybody else in that qualifying too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, maybe this might be the one he could win here. And then
nope.
One by
Just
one.
slowly dwindled.
Slowly
dwindled.
But you can check him out on Father Figure Gaming on Facebook. What is it on Twitch? Cgrizzy6.
Cgrizzy6. Yep.
So those things. I almost I don't know if you've seen Barstool. They've been streaming NCAA.
Yeah.
Like I've been watching some of it and just laughing.
Oh yeah.
It's been hilarious. Just because I know how we act with that crap too.
Oh yeah.
And the other day he didn't play Baylor because he didn't stream it.
Yeah.
He thought it was going to be an easy game.
Yeah.
And he lost.
Of course. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. Exactly how it goes, because especially you have it up on that higher setting, like the stupidest stuff happens. Like,
oh no, they return an onside kick for a touchdown with 0 time left on the clock. Yeah.
So that was that, and last thing I had here is and I have no clue if you saw this or not. Kind of back in the education realm here. But just your honest insight into this, if this is something you would have to look at as an English teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you saw this proposed change in standards for next year.
I have not.
It was in the Gazette. Just at what time did I save this? 8:00. So this was very late when I was
tonight.
Yeah, when I was sitting there prepping this. It says, the new proposal, and this has to do with cursive writing.
Oh, cursive writing.
It would expand the standard into 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grades.
Huh.
Teachers could teach a traditional cursive or something called joined italics, which allows students to pick up their pens or pencils while writing a word. The letters must still be connected. Ideally, there won't be direct instruction in cursive in middle schools if the changes pass.
Then why have it?
Yeah, I mean that's what
you know what I mean. Like, why have it?
If it's a standard, like it should.
We want you guys to teach us, but we don't want you to teach it. Really,
It's like I don't know. Or they just say they wanted to practice it. You know what I mean? Like
Probably practice it, yeah. Which I mean, I don't care. I'm down to practice some cursive. I mean,
because I remember, that
I'm
that
more of a
kinda,
joined italics guy. Do you consider yourself a cursive guy or joined italics guy when you write, or do you just straight up print?
I print. I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't write in cursive. That's an honest.
yeah,
I mean, I cannot do it. I mean,
yeah.
this is actually a really sad part of my life here is that I remember the day that in seventh grade, the first day of seventh grade,
Yeah.
when a certain reading teacher looked at me and said, "We don't care, or not care, but like if you want to write print, you write print. If you want to write in cursive, you write in cursive." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, I'm gonna write in print." So,
Obviously, yeah.
and that was the end. And like when I've had to take those praxis tests, and I don't know if they still do it or
I was
not.
about to say the same thing. The
but-
paragraph you have to
yeah,
write.
the paragraph.
I like start sweating.
That you say that like you were you and blah, 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 like, you're not somebody else. And I'm not lying. When I took my first one and I had to do that, like I got out and I messaged Tinch and I said, I think that was harder than the test. I was like, 'cause I don't remember the letters. Like I legit.
Rudo?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, and I'm sitting, and it's on a little like clipboard in a waiting room.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, and I'm like, all right. I was like, it's been 20 years at this point. Like, I have not written, I mean, an actual cursive other than even my signature is horrible.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, I have not written an actual sentence in 20 years, and I've got to do this.
I had an 8th grade teacher, my 8th grade English teacher, made us write a full 1-page paper. No, it was a 2-page paper. I'm sorry. In cursive with ink. And I remember just like I was good at cursive. Like I still consider myself pretty decent at cursive writing, but like knowing it was with ink, like it put the pressure on Andy. Like I'm sitting here sweating on my paper. My hands are clammy as I'm writing, as I'm starting this essay, and as I start to work down line by line. I remember getting to the and some of you may think I'm lying, but I kid you not. I get to the last line of this paper, the very last sentence, and I just screw up. Mess my letters completely up. Misspelled a word. My letters look like crap. And she would not let me cross it out. She wouldn't let me white it out. I had to start over. Not lying. She made us start over if we messed up. And that haunted me. Like I still remember that to this day. There are things that happen throughout your younger, your lifetime that will always stick with you, and that was that. Had to restart that page.
So yeah, I'm horrible at it. I think it's funny. I mean, I'm a horrible writer, anyways. I mean, Rick Hanley made fun of my writing for years, and when I first started at the only year I was on the high school side, the true high school, not all dead, just high school. The girls, one of my classes made fun of my writing so much that they printed out like 2 blank copies of like handwriting like things, and me and another student like practiced handwriting, and then they graded which one was better.
Did you win?
No, I didn't.
Oh, Andy.
So that's why I've always been like, that's why, I mean, I don't like putting things, I don't like writing on the board in class. Like I can if I really take my time, but like, I would rather just put it up on the screen and be done. So cursive writing, a fear.
And it's so funny how, in terms of education, like I remember teachers and I was taught cursive writing. This is going to sound stupid. I was taught cursive writing in my 5th grade math class and you'll know who I'm talking about, by Mrs. Alberchinsky. Was who taught me cursive. Yep. And I love, like, she taught it so well. I don't know, I can't remember how, but I remember her always saying, like, hey, you're going to use cursive in everything you do in middle school. You're going to use cursive in everything you do in high school. And guess what? I went to middle school and I printed, except for that one stupid paper.
So, all right, that'll do it. I think we're running a little long here. Of course, I can't. Yeah, so we're running long. That's okay though. So now we're getting to a segment here that I think is probably going to become a weekly thing, or most of the time. Is something I've always wanted to do on some shows, just because I think it fits our theme pretty well. So I call it 3 Up. It can then once this is kind of the truly unscripted part of the show is he has absolutely I have no clue what he's gonna say. He has no clue what I'm gonna say. So, was the 3 Up part was it can be good things, positive things from the week, anything, good memories. It could even be things like that. And I have one very good memory on here too. So I'm holding it for because this was another as I was prepping at 8 o'clock and we recorded at 8:40. It popped up on my Facebook wall and I was like, oh man, because I had 2 other things. I have a bunch of scratch here and then I changed it all to that because I had to do it.
Yeah.
So up from the week, this boredom thing is really kind of gotten to me in the last couple of weeks, and finally I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna start being more active. So Cody's seen I've been kicking butt the last really 3 days. I didn't take any pictures of the first day, but the last 3 days have been my legs are like Jello. But, yeah, it's been an interesting couple weeks there, or a couple days. So but yeah, getting in at least 5 miles a day, and all that good stuff. So
you've been it's like you said, you've been sending me pictures of it, man. It makes my legs hurt.
Yeah, it's been. I know this morning actually wasn't that bad. I was actually shocked. So I know if I can make it through these first couple days.
Then it'll wear off.
Of course, I went to go buy a new pair of shoes today. And I was like, oh, okay. I dropped Natalie off 6 o'clock. I was like, and the shoe place will be open. Nah, they closed at 5 o'clock.
Like, oh my gosh!
5 o'clock. I was like, so I'm gonna go buy a new pair of shoes. So we're doing that. That was one of my ups from the week. Number 2, I was like, I gotta feel like. Yeah, Cody knows this too from pictures. I've really been trying to become a master at smoking assorted meats on the grill.
Yeah,
and
dude, the candied bacons look delicious.
That's the one I was going to talk about. Is my mom took some home yesterday, and everybody there was like one of them looked at her and was like, "Where did you get this?" Like, and she was
my
like,
son.
Andy made it, and he was like, "What do I have to do to get more?"
You don't want to know.
So she was like messaging me like, "Hey, if I buy you bacon, like, will you make some more?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, sure." So, and I'm like I've said, I'm no Dusty Morrison, but I feel like I've definitely found a groove with it. Pork, I feel like I've gotten pretty good with that. It's truly a process starting off with that, and watching YouTube videos and all that stuff. You can watch that stuff till you're just tired of watching them. But in the end, somebody always told me is you gotta just make your own stuff. It's just kind of a feel thing. And yeah, I'm seeing that already because I made that bacon the first time and I was like, ugh. I was like, this is too much rub. Too much the salt. Rub.
Yeah.
Listen to that. Since I did that, it was after I did that.
Found the sweet spot.
Absolutely perfect. So that smoke, oh man, pellet grill, people, pellet grill.
Yeah.
All day long, set that temp, little digital temperature
set
gauge,
just and forget it.
Yep, set it and forget it. Walk away.
The old school infomercial.
Yep. So I've mastered that. And then my other 3 Up, and this is more of that positive memories thing. This popped up on that Retro 90s Facebook page earlier. And this is a special place in our hearts, in our area of the country, because we were, the last to get to enjoy this.
Yeah. I'm eager to see.
It posted a picture of McDonald's pizza.
Oh, my God.
And, it's positive, but, when it was taken from us, it's still a little rough in that regard, how it was taken from us. See, here there was 2 McDonald's left in the whole country, right?
Yeah.
That still served pizza. It was us and Spencer, West Virginia, which is not too far from here, about an hour.
Yeah.
We were the only 2, and we held on to that, and it was great.
Yeah.
Pizza at a great price. For the longest time, it was $5 for a large, or even $6
for a large pizza.
I mean, it was great, and you had to wait. That's part of the fun of it, I guess. You had to pull.
Yeah, I was always willing to wait.
But they made them on the midnights. Yeah. I mean, you could.
I know a lot of people enjoy late night Taco Bell runs. I get that, but you have not lived until you've made a late night McDonald's pizza run.
Yeah, and. I mean, I remember one time going up there, and we were going to order 3 or 4 of them,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't do that in advance." And I was like, "Okay then, like, like if you
Yeah.
really want to make 4 pizzas on the fly,
Yeah.
okay." Like I was trying
Yeah.
to help you out, but and
Yeah.
we did.
Trying to
We had to
give
go.
you money, McDonald's. I know you're
Well,
struggling.
we did. We went up there and sat and waited as they made 4 pizzas.
Yeah.
But man, it was good. I mean, it had
It
a
was
picture with the
good. That was top
fries,
notch
and
stuff.
oh my gosh, I mean,
Yeah.
when it got ripped from us, it's good memories. It's definitely an up, and the last kind of I had some other things too, and I'll probably save them. But so I wanted to throw in a good memory
Yeah.
there too of something that I can still just taste in my mouth right now.
Definitely. Yeah.
It had a little bit of spice to it too.
It did. Had a little kick.
That was what I enjoyed about it. It was not.
I
I
agree.
enjoy pepperoni and stuff like that. That's just got that little bit of kick to it.
Yep.
It definitely had that. So
Yeah.
all right. So what do you got for the week?
For the week, one of my 3 ups is I, and a couple others just started working in our garden for our HA produce stand that we opened, or that we're going to open here probably within the next month. I've never gardened a day in my life. I've never held a gardening tool and purposefully dug things and planted seeds, and that's just it's never been me. So getting with my brother-in-law, he showed me the ropes. Like, yeah, it's some work, but man, getting out of the house and getting in the sunny weather, it was yesterday when it was really nice out, and getting out there and planting things and kind of being around some people. It felt good to get out of the house and learn something. We always tell our kids in class, or at least I do, like, always learn something. Be comfortable being uncomfortable is what I like to say, because always be willing to learn new things, and that's definitely what I've stepped out of my comfort zone, learning new things. It sounds stupid, but who knew? I never knew how to plant a tomato plant, and there's a certain way you do it. Same with beans and peppers and things like that on it. So it was pretty neat. That was one of them. Second, throughout the course of the week, I got to spend quite a bit of time with my daughter with the time off. That's been really nice. My wife just went back to work, so it's just been my daughter and myself. We'll wake up, watch some cartoons, eat some pancakes. She likes to eat little pieces of pancakes. So my daughter's 7 months old. So that's been good. I've had a blast with her. And last thing of the week that was positive. I'm not gonna lie, I know we said it was weird, but getting back in the school felt good today, man. It felt really good just to get back in my classroom. Yeah, it was weird, it was eerie, but walking through my door and taking my mask off and just deep cleaning some things, and like I found things from 2017, and like as a teacher you just hoard a bunch of crap that you don't realize that you have until you go through it. So the custodians probably weren't the happiest with me today, because I went through and I threw a bunch of stuff out. I got a lot of stuff organized, so that felt good too. So those are my 3 ups for the week.
You mean you like to save stuff that you might need someday, just like I do? I'm horrible
Yeah.
about it. Like, I'm
Oh man, it's terrible.
Like you're like, oh man, I could use that for something someday, and then
I
like
know.
it just sits there, and then
Yeah.
3 years later you're like, oh wow,
Dude, I literally had this VHS of Where the Red Fern Grows. I don't know why I had it in my classroom. I'm not going to watch the VHS version of Where the Red Fern Grows.
You're not gonna roll the old TV down and
Not going to roll the old TV down.
pop it in the VHS and.
Not going to roll the
Oh
old VHS
man, I remember
down.
we read that a couple years ago. Whew. One of the girls in class didn't handle it well.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that'll finish that. I know we a little long-winded on some of that stuff, but that's okay. That'll get us to kind of our main segment for today's episode. We posted it on Facebook. What it was, we said it at the end of the episode last week. We're going to reminisce here and talk about what things were like when we're about 6 years apart. So, we'll get a pretty good perspective here, or different perspectives. What it was like when we were 15 years old? You know, what are some different things we remember? Some good times, maybe some very rough technology times, all that good stuff. Cody, started off with you.
Man, you know, I was sitting there trying to think of some things to talk about, when I was 15 and whatnot. One of the biggest things that hits home with me is coming home from school, sitting down behind the computer and logging on to MSN, and just you literally just left your friends at school, but there was a different vibe to getting online and typing out things to people.
Oh yeah, and everybody had those, your statuses and all that stuff, and
Yeah, but yeah,
at
and like
school.
the statuses that you had was like one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter with like, I don't know what it's called, like a little squiggly line beside of it. Like you're just like, and looking back at it, man, I just I just got with my girlfriend like at the beginning of the day, and she just dumped me. Like I gotta put some sad song lyrics in uppercase and lowercase letters on it. I have to.
Yeah.
Like it's a must. I was in love. That was one of my biggest things that we always did every day after school. Just MSN, get on, do your thing. And I just want to bring that back. I'm about to start a Facebook group so we can download an ICQ or something.
Hey, ICQ is still out there.
I know.
I remember we downloaded the app a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I'm getting to that on mine too. So let's go on. What else you got?
One thing that hit me too was, cell phones were just now starting to. People my age were starting to get cell phones, but we were still on that brink of. We were on the brink of cell phones, but we were still at the good old age of passing notes. Man, like, you had these people that would fold up a note like it was origami. Like you pull this tab, this pops open. Like it was passing notes was an art. I remember just real quick. I remember passing notes with a girl that I dated in middle school. Maybe it was our 9th grade year. And she sat behind me in math class. And I remember that day I broke up with her, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper, slid it back on her desk. I listened to the paper crumble as she started to open it. And then I heard a sigh. And then she asked to go to the bathroom. And she came back with mascara on her face. So I knew she'd been crying. And, guys, to be honest with everybody, like notes could be heartbreaking. And I actually have all my notes from when I was in school. I still have them saved.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And like reading them is so cringy. Hey, and then the arrow points up.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? Into MH. Just sitting here in class, bored. And then they'd go on to tell me about like some stupid stuff that didn't even matter. And at the end it'd be like, Lilab, love you like a real bro, or love you like a brother, Lilab. And then like they'd sign their name with like a heart or something. Oh man. And fashion, like, man, when I was 15 years old, like, I'm not gonna lie, like I rocked the Live Strong bracelet, man. That was one that everybody had. Like, if you didn't have a yellow Live Strong bracelet around your wrist, like, first off, like you didn't care, about the cause that Lance Armstrong was going for. That was a big fashion sense back then. And who didn't have a razor when I was 15? Bluetooth was on the cusp of yeah. And I remember, getting everybody quiet in the car, and I would record a certain part of a song and set it as my ringtone. And like some songs would be really loud and some songs would be really low.
I used to make my own, like around with the razors. I remember that, like plugging them in the computer, and yeah.
See, I had to I had to record it, and I could set it as my ringtone and be like, "Oh, dude, man, hey, can you send me Candy Shop by 50 Cent so like I can like put that as my ringtone?" And like then my phone would ring around my parents, and they'd be like, "What is that?" I'm like, "What? You never been to the candy shop, Mom and Dad? Like, what do you think? Come on." So like,
I was going to go with the next lyric, but I'll leave it like.
but no, like those are just things I remember. Like I remember at 15 we got our first desktop that we got it, and I didn't have to mess with dial up anymore. And dude, it was just so amazing that, you know, I wasn't tying up a phone line when I was talking to when I was on the internet. Like that to me was amazing. What year was it? It was 2005 when I was 15, so it would have been 2000, or it would have been it would have been the year 2000 when you were 15, right?
99.
99.
Yeah.
So what about you?
I'm early one in the grade. With me, like you talked about MSN. That was the first one I had on here. Was MSN kind of came a little later, high school for me. It was definitely ICQ and AOL. AOL
Yeah.
was AOL IM. Was definitely the big things then. I don't remember my AOL login that I used. I really do not remember it. But for ICQ, this is a really sad fact. Are you ready for this? 2896-7099.
You still remember
I
it?
still remember my ICQ number.
Oh my gosh!
Off the top of my head, I still it's ingrained in my mind that much. And I think it's because back then, like when your computer got like struck by lightning or something, like you had to like you had to know all those things like to be able to get your account back.
It is true.
So like that's how I knew them, and
Yeah.
it just stuck in my head.
Yeah.
ICQ does still exist for those. It did as of a couple years ago because me and Biscuit like used it for like 6 months to like check in places. We would
just messaging to each other.
Well, we would just check in anywhere we were somewhere. We would just check in and send each other a message that we checked in somewhere. We'd used it for a solid 6 months, but ICQ was still alive and kicking. So. Yeah, that ICQ, like you said, that instant message, even though you've been around them and all that stuff, cell phones weren't quite there with when I was 15. It wasn't until I was later in high school. So that instant message, that was part of how you talk to people.
Yeah,
and unless it was phone or that. So that was kind of the way there was definitely AOL. And I tell this story sometimes. If it wasn't for AOL, AOL really, in a weird, I guess not a weird way, but in a direct way, it ended up kind of fostering what my love for music was, because I had a way to message on AOL criminal records.
Really?
Yes. He had AOL Instant Messenger.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yes, and it was just there at the store. And, young me learning to love rock music, like when I would hear something or, wanting to know if they had it or whatever it was, like I just sent a message, and if they didn't have it, they'd let me know when they had it, all that good stuff. Like it was the thing that kind of, when I was pre-driving and all that stuff, when I couldn't go over to Sam Goody or on Q or whatever it was at that time, it was, kind of my way was say, hey, hey, you got this, okay, I'll pick it up, sitting behind the counter and you go in and pay, and that was it.
Dang. So, I never knew that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So without AOL Instant Messenger, who knows if I end up loving rock music as much as I do. So,
yeah.
And I've never actually told him that story, even though he works in the next building. I've still never actually told him that story. So I feel like I need to at some point, because I wouldn't be the music nut that I am.
Yeah.
Which segues right into music. Talking about music around 99 was definitely, for me, Napster. All that
man.
great era of the early, pre-Metallica, and who was the other one that shut it down? Was it Metallica? And I can't remember who the other one was. I know Metallica was first, but there's somebody else. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, Napster was big, and then of course, morphed into all kinds of other services after that.
Oh yeah,
LimeWire.
LimeWire was
I know,
me. Yeah,
I
that
know,
was.
yeah, it was still me too. Eventually, but
Yeah.
but LimeWire was definitely a big one.
Yeah.
LimeWire, you never knew what you were getting, but
Oh no, no, you never did
yes,
know what you were
you were
walking
rolling the
into.
dice, but
Yeah. Oh man.
so.
Whoever.
But yeah, music sharing, all that back then when it was just, now there's other ways, I guess, and but back then, just having this
You didn't have to
little,
worry about the
you
risk.
just
Well, I mean, you did in terms of
you just
viruses, but
typed it in the little box, and what was there showed up, and
yeah.
it was. Now you may have. We talked about this the other day, and we were talking was, uh, that, there may be some jerk out there that. He may have that copy of Nelly EI, but he
Yeah.
only put the first 30 seconds in there for you.
Yeah, and
So
then you're like,
you're gonna get that
uh-oh.
30 seconds, and then you're like, oh man,
No,
and I was
no.
like, why would you do that? Like, you
Yeah.
jerk. So there was a lot of that stuff back then. Like, you almost feel like you had to listen to the song, like the whole song, like to make sure it was right, because if some jerk would be out there just ready to do that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh man, these people are all going to download that song, and
Yep.
it's not all there.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. I wrote down games. At that time was kind of 64, PS1. That kind of era. It was getting ready to
Oh yeah.
phase into the PS2 and Dreamcast. Dreamcast would have been 99 too. So,
Yeah, Dreamcast was 99.
Yeah, so that's I just realized that I didn't even think about it, but yeah, all around that era, those systems getting ready to phase into PS2 and GameCube. All those things that would come after. But yeah, we talked about that last episode, kind of things with 64 and stuff like that. Some of our fond memories there. So
Yeah.
that was definitely. When I think of that middle school, early high school age, games, that was definitely learning those multiplayer games and all that
Learning
stuff.
the cheat codes.
Yeah.
I mean, you had cheat code central, cheat CC.
Then other things, just because I mentioned this off the air to him too, when we first kind of brought this topic up, was like, I mean, the floppy disk was like a big thing around then for us. And like, I remember, and like Cody knows, like, I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and I'm on and off right now. It just depends on the, what's going on. But like back then, growing up, I mean, me and other friends, like, that was all, it was big, it was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely huge. There was Attitude Era, all that big stuff. And like, all those themes and stuff like that, like, you wanted to have them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I remember like downloading those themes on like floppy disk, but there wasn't a whole lot of room on those things. So you always had like the cheap knockoff versions, or you had like 20 seconds of the song,
Yeah.
and like that was it. And then like you would label it like, it's Stone Cold. And
Yeah.
it's just like the glass breaking, and like,
Yeah.
that's about it.
That's it. That's all you get.
But
Shattered
that was it.
glass.
You had an MP3 of Stone Cold's theme music there. So.
Yeah.
I do remember that, especially early on. Computer stuff was the floppy disk being a very, very, very big deal.
Yeah.
And, I actually had some of those a couple years ago. One of the football coaches had some stats on there from stuff, and they were on floppy disk. So I had to get a little, USB plug-in thing and plug it in, and it was just weird, just getting them out of the little container that they were always in. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, what a forgotten. Talk about forgotten things from the past. Like,
Oh yeah.
that is definitely a forgotten thing from the past. It's the art of the floppy disk.
This is pre me being 15, but my grandma had a word processor that had a Brick Breaker on floppy disk. So I remember playing Brick Breaker on her word processor. That was always a good time.
So yeah, those are just some things with me, mainly technology. I guess from a technology perspective, things I remember back about that age, music wise. Oh gosh, I mean, I always had a hard time. Like, I know my artist so well, but I always have a horrible time saying, "Oh, that album was that year," or
Yeah, yeah.
like, I can never like
Oh, I know
kind of
110%.
place.
15-year-old me was Lil Wayne, like 110%. Like, dude, I was like a Lil Wayne fanatic. I'm not saying I'm not now, but like he was just so creative with his songs at that time. Like in terms of the figurative language he used, like looking at as an English teacher perspective, like the similes and things like that he uses, or he was really good with that. Which I mean, it is what it is. But what about MySpace? MySpace was big for us.
Yeah, that was right. Uh, I was a little bit older, so I didn't. I mean, I was on it, but
Dude, you had to be on your game as a MySpace. You had to keep up with that stuff. Like,
yeah.
I was always shifting top friends,
I
man.
was saying,
Like,
you couldn't fall off people's top friends.
no,
I do remember that. I mean, it was
remember
important.
people
And
writing on my wall, like, dude, what the heck? Like,
the thing I
I'm not
legit
your
liked
top
about
anymore.
it, once again, from a music perspective, is like you could put songs in there and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that was a big,
Yeah.
that was a big part of it to me.
And then your profile had to match your song, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, and this is kind of embarrassing, but like, I remember specifically, I had a Lil Wayne and Birdman song set as my profile song, and my background picture were these little cartoon characters that were throwing up gang signs and wearing a red bandana as if they were in the Bloods gang. So like I just took on that persona. Like, dude,
You mean that's not an accurate description of your life here in West Virginia?
it wasn't even close. So people, and then like I thought, man, I might like, I don't know, I might get shot or something one day. Like, oh man, you see Cody's MySpace profile? Like, dude, he's got red all over that. We got to take care of this crap. Like, I didn't know, so I was like, yeah, I'm changing that. It was like, it wasn't even 24 hours, dude. And I changed it. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. I mean, I couldn't take a Lil Wayne song and make a John Deere tractor my background. Like, that just doesn't go together. So, and I was like, man, what could I do for my background? Yeah, I found like little cartoon characters with like gang signs and guns, and they had red bandanas on. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. And then like, it really wasn't that awesome. I'll have to go. I actually logged into my MySpace not too long ago, and the pictures on there are wow.
I don't remember. I mean,
oh man, they're embarrassing. Like the selfies
was,
that were taken are just.
I mean, I was older
terrible
at that point, so like, I mean, I remember having one and some things about it, but I mean, I was kind of at the end of it, so
yeah.
that was. I think the height of MySpace was probably like pre when anybody could get Facebook. Like,
Yeah.
remember like
Yeah.
Facebook, you used to have college email and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and then like they opened the gates, and then like when those gates opened, like that was when MySpace died. Because
Yeah, I remember a friend
MySpace
had
was
Facebook.
MySpace was something anybody could have, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And then once that ability, I mean, if I remember right, I mean, I always feel like those two in a timeline was like kind of happened is when one cranked up, the other
Yeah.
died a death.
It was funny, man. I remember telling my friends like, dude, you gotta get this Facebook. I'm like, no way, man. MySpace all the way. Like, true. Like I'm a true MySpacer. Like, come on, dude.
That's what with
Do you
instant
get cool
messengers.
music on Facebook? Well, no. Okay, well that's stupid.
Yeah, with instant messengers, like, MSN came along, like, right at the tail end of high school, maybe. Like, and, AOL was, kind of in the ICQ, and then MSN, and there was even Yahoo had one. Like,
Yeah, they did.
I mean,
yeah.
there was all kinds of them, but, like, I
Yeah.
always kind of stayed on all of them. I was pretty, fluid in all of them. I'd say, looking back, I'd say I probably enjoyed AOL the most.
Yeah.
I had to really, I enjoyed its simplicity, I guess.
Right.
Even though I never had America Online.
Yeah.
But I just enjoyed their messenger.
I was a straight MSN guy, man.
I never cashed in on the free America Online disc.
Yeah. Yeah.
That used to come in the mail.
Yeah.
45 free hours.
Yay.
That's great, but I've got CityNet.
Mhm. It takes 45 hours just to log on.
Yeah. So, well, anything else?
I'm good, man. I think we pretty much covered my 15-year-old Spectrum like pretty well.
Simple. I mean, it's like that time in life where you're like, I mean, looking back here, I mean, there probably was still drama, but like you're kind of out of that middle school,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff, but you're not like you're still like young in high school, and you're not quite like, oh, what am I doing for a living and all that stuff yet.
It was just that
you're just kind of
real chill time. You're just kind of living.
Yeah.
Living La Vida Loca right there,
Eating pizza rolls,
Oh man, yeah.
So, all right. Well, we didn't talk about an idea for next week's episode. That was before the show, so we.
I know we did.
We definitely forgot. I realized that about 10 minutes in. So
yeah.
We will just leave that open. We will talk about it, and we'll get something out before the weekend. That way, maybe we can get some conversation going and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of leave it open for this week. Maybe do something gaming. I don't know. We'll see. I think I got an idea now. We'll go with it.
Okay.
So I guess that's about it. You can check us out once again on Facebook. Hopefully we'll be getting the Twitter, whether it's the old handle or I guess the old one will change to new. But we will if we get a Twitter, we will let us know or let you guys know if we get a new one. But mainly Facebook is our main line of communication. You can message us on there. We will, now that we actually have a podcast again, we'll actually respond to some messages and all that stuff. Before it was like when somebody sent a message, you were like, ugh.
I know.
Like,
hey, when are you guys coming back? It's been a minute. No, it hasn't been a minute. It's been 5 years.
Yeah. So,
Jack Johnson from Michigan.
So now that we actually are back, I guess we can actually respond to messages and not go hide under a rock every time somebody sends us one. So that's how I always felt, at least.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Hey, how you guys been?
Remember that one episode on guts, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I remember that. It's good.
Let's take it to Mo.
Mo.
All right, well, we will settle on a topic this week and get it out to social media. That way we can maybe get some interaction. And be sure to share it, share the link, do all that good stuff. And it's that time where you got to start begging for those reviews. Those reviews are what makes iTunes go around. I think I reviewed it.
You did. I saw today.
Didn't it say, like, this is my own show?
Yeah. You're like, I think I'd be crazy if I didn't review my own show. And it's like, I was like, God, Andy is crazy, but I'm gonna review it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's those little reviews. I mean, it all matters, and who listens to what, and how it gets out there, all that stuff. So like I said, once our last one got out there and got up on some of those iTunes things, like, we did really well. And I think, and we're still kind of random right now and trying to narrow these things down and sort this thing out as we go. But I think as we do, we will definitely, be able to get back up there, I hope.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, until next week, I guess we will talk to you guys then. This is Andy Layton signing off, and
Cody Greathouse.
see you guys later.
See ya.